Hi, this is Ian Wright, and I just want to carry on a little bit more talking about sleep. This one's called Anxiety, Sleep and Sugar. So there's a big connection between sleep difficulties, anxiety and sugar. So I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the elements in it. There's quite a lot in it. So in the blood-brain chemistry, there is something called serotonin, which is very important in terms of mood regulation. And there are various antidepressants which can be serotonin uptake inhibitors. It was previously thought when they designed these drugs that low serotonin in the early days of antidepressant drugs caused anxiety and depression. But now it's thought actually the opposite, that high serotonin causes anxiety and depression. So the interesting thing is that high sugar intake raises serotonin levels in the brain. So sugar has a direct correlation to anxiety. Not only that, is sugar has an effect. If you have high blood sugar, it can cause a stressful effect on the body. The body has a physiological response to it. It can also obviously lead to certain levels of insulin resistance, puts a strain on the pancreas as well. But sugar has a direct effect on the adrenals, the HPA, hypothalamus, pituitary axis, especially the adrenal part of it, to create cortisol. Now, cortisol in itself is a stress hormone. It's a medium-term stress hormone, and it's a response of our bodies to stress. And the cortisol, its direct effects are to decrease immune function, because we have corticosteroids when we have inflammatory conditions. So it actually suppresses the immune response, cortisol. But it's been shown in studies also to decrease the size of the hippocampus, which is to do with memory, and increase the size of the amygdala in the brain, which is our threat response, and it's involved with anxiety. It's a direct preconscious threat response of our body, and it can stimulate that. And so actually the size, if you have increased cortisol in your body, it's been shown that the size of the amygdala can grow. Now that is directly correlated to an increase in anxiety. So let's see how sleep affects that. Now sleep enters this vicious cycle with sugar, because if we have a difficulty in sleeping, it has been shown to increase our blood sugars. I mean, there is a natural increase in blood sugars early in the morning linked to growth hormone, etc. But if we have a disturbed sleep, it stops our body processing fats, and there is an increased blood sugar level. Now, an increased blood sugar level has an effect, of course, of decreasing our sleep. So you go into this vicious sugar sleep cycle, which is linked to actually sugar sleep anxiety cycle. So when there is high blood sugar, there is more irritability, there's a stimulation of the hypothalamic pituitary axis. You tend to feel too warm. You tend to pee more. If you've got high blood sugar, you want to get rid of it, and so you get up in the night and you want to go to the loo. So with all of this, you have less sleep. Now, the one thing you could say is, right, well, don't take sugars before going to bed. Now, that is true in a lot of cases, but in some cases, sugar regulation is a complex subject, because some people get hypoglycemic, as in there is too little blood sugar level. And when people are hypoglycemic, they tend to feel cold, they get sweaty, they get headaches, they get restless, they don't sleep so well. So the important thing is to actually understand if you become hyperglycemic or hypoglycemic. Now, blood tests are the best way to do that. The interesting thing, it doesn't mean that we're all diabetic, but our sugar regulation is very, very important to sleep. and consequently to anxiety. Decreased sleep leads to increased anxiety. Increased anxiety, again, leads to decreased sleep. So can you see how this whole thing is this triangle of connection? So, okay, what's the answer to this? Actually, hyperglycemic or hypoglycemic, you need regulation in your diet. You need to eat regularly. There needs to be small snacks between meals so you don't become hypoglycemic, because what tends to happen is the body sugar levels go up or down, even in all of us, not just in people who are pre-diabetic or diabetic. And if you can keep it regular, which means you have a balanced diet with complex carbohydrates, proteins are correct, not hyping it up, overloading the sugar, which will send you into these hypes and falls of sugar handling. So keeping it regular, eat regularly, sleep, try and get to bed before midnight. We talked about that in this last one. Make sure you have a cool room. Make sure you have proper rest. Make sure you calm down the nervous system. So if your HPA axis is stimulated, meaning you're stressed, and you don't de-stress, you don't unwind at the end of the day, the sleep quality is down. So actually that in turn affects your sugar handling. So we need to step into this cycle with rhythm, regularity, not too much sugars, not too much refined foods. Processed foods are a disaster for this. And exercise, again and again, exercise is really important. A good bout of cardiovascular exercise every day helps to regulate sugar levels, helps to regulate anxiety levels. So anyway, there's a quick insight into how those things interconnect and how we can start to change them, because our body physiology is complex, but if we break it down, we can see these patterns and help them. There's much more to this when we talk again about the gut-brain axis, the vagal nerve, and all of these effects on the nervous system. These are very important in sleep anxiety issues, but this is a huge subject. Anyway, I wish you well, and I wish you could sleep.